Hey guys, welcome to High Heels and Destiny. High Heels and Destiny. Welcome, ladies. I am glad that you are here today, okay? Today's topic will be, what does pretty look like? Do your pretty looks like you, or do your pretty look like somebody else? Us as women, we are so critical when it comes to our looks, okay? We can give ourselves the hardest time when it comes to look. What do pretty look like to you? Okay, that's very important. And that's something we just need to take a few moments, ladies, just to think about. What does pretty look like to you? Okay. And like I said before, do your pretty look like you, or do your pretty look like somebody else? And when I say your pretty look like somebody else, you base your whole looks off of another woman. And that's really something really important, women, that we need to think about. What do you base your pretty off of? And we all have different definitions what pretty look like. And to me, pretty look like me being me being who I am, me being me trying not to resemble the next person, being able to accept my flaws, even though my flaws, I may be critical of my flaws and I may not like my flaws, but me being able to embrace my flaws and say, you know what, regardless of this or that, or how this may be shaped, or how long this may be, or how wide this may be, or how big this may be, I still love me some me, okay? I still love me some me. What do your pretty look like? And that's something really important, because now we're growing up in a society where everybody is basing pretty off of small waist, big breasts, big butt, okay? But I remember a time, like when I was younger, in my earlier 20s, everybody didn't have a big butt. You had some women that had a small butt, a medium butt, big butt, long butt, flat butt, all different types of butt. You had women that had breasts that were small, medium, large, extra large, or whatever the case may be. And we all look different. And now we're growing up in the society where everybody, we starting to look the same. Everybody have, big butts, everybody have small waists, everybody have big breasts. But the question is, what do pretty really look like? Because sometimes we can get all these things. We can get a big butt, we can get a big some big breasts, and we can get a small waist, but we're still broken on the inside. We're still insecure on the inside. So what do pretty look like to you? Okay, that's something that we really need to take a self-evaluation about, within ourselves, and say, hey, you know what does pretty look like? To somebody else, it may be about having a big butt and big breasts. To somebody else, it may be out they feel only pretty when they have on designer clothes. To someone else, pretty may look like makeup. To somebody else, pretty may look like being able to wear hair weave and eyelashes and stuff like that. So what does pretty look like? To me, like I said once before, pretty is being able to accept who you are. Being able to accept who you are regardless of your flaws. Okay? And I know there may be some things, us as women, on our bodies that we may feel like, okay, I don't like this, how this look, or this shape. But, that's okay. But at some point in time, we have to get to a place where we start accepting, like, this is me. This is who I am. This is not going to change. Certain things about our body we can change. Certain things about our bodies we can't change. And the things that we can't change, are you willing to accept? And even the things that you can change, are you still willing to accept them regardless? Because like I said, if you can't love you, and if you can't accept you, then you can't expect somebody else to come in and accept you. Like, you may think that you're really pretty and you have the nice body, but if that guy come up and he don't say, oh, you're fine, or you're pretty, or something like that, are you still able to walk around and have that same confidence without having someone to be able to validate you all the time? Okay, and that's something, ladies, we really need to think about. Are you able to be secure in your skin when you take everything off at the end of the night? If you have to take off the weave, the makeup, the designer clothes, and you had to be your naked self, like, and not as in naked as in the clothes, but naked as in no eyelashes, no makeup, no lipstick or whatever, then are you able to accept those things? Are you comfortable with those things at the end of the night? And if your answer is no, like I gotta have makeup on to go to bed, or I gotta have my hair weave on to go to bed, or whatever it may be, then there's some things that you may really want to look into and really self-evaluate yourself on. Like I said once before, there's nothing wrong with hair weave and makeup and stuff like that, because as you can see, I do wear it myself. But the thing is that when you look at these things as idols, when these things, you feel like you need these things to complete you, when you feel like, okay, I can't go to the store unless I got on my makeup. I can't go to the store unless I got on my eyelashes. If your friend call you and you don't have no makeup and no eyelashes, no hair weave, are you willing still to walk into the world with just being your complete self? Okay, that's something very, very important you need to think about, ladies. Can you be you? Can you be you when it's nothing else on you? Can you still be you? Do you still think you're beautiful? Do you still think that you're bold? Do you still think that you're confident? Do you still think that you are a child of God? Okay, really think about what does pretty look like. And I was at work, and this guy, he have a youth group with teenagers, and he told me that the young lady, she said that she didn't feel pretty, and it wasn't because she wasn't pretty, but she felt like she didn't look like the other girls. You know, she didn't have on the makeup, and she probably didn't have on the heels and the other feminine stuff that us as women we wear, and she didn't feel pretty. And I want you to know that that's kind of hurtful in a way, because it's like, we don't want to grow up in a generation where we feel like pretty mean that I have to have on 3 to 4 inches of heels. I got to have on makeup. I got to have my hair done. I got to have a nice car. I got to have a designer bag. Like, that's not pretty. And we don't want to get into the mind frame of thinking that's what pretty is. Pretty is all this stuff. What if pretty mean no makeup? You know, what if pretty mean no eyelashes? What if pretty mean no hair weave? What if pretty mean different shapes and body sizes? Okay, because we get caught up into, okay, pretty mean like I'm pretty if I have a really small waist, and if I have a flat stomach, and I have a nice, you know, lower bottom and stuff like that. You know, people get caught up in this mind frame like that's what pretty mean, but that's not true, because it's a girl out there that may not be small, that she may have a bigger waist, and she may have a bigger bottom, and she may have a bigger thigh, but that does not invalidate who she is. She is still pretty. I think there are different terms to the word pretty. Pretty does not stop at a color. It does not stop at a race. It does not stop at a body size. It does not stop at a certain weight. Pretty is whatever you identify it to, okay? And it's very important, us as women, that we know what pretty is, because we get so attached to what the world say pretty looks like. You have to be a certain complexion. You have to have a certain hair length. Your hair can't be kinky. Your hair have to be straight. Your hair have to be curly. You have to be a certain body, you have to have a certain body image, you know, a certain weight size. Like it's crazy. And it's so important that we don't get caught up on that trend, because us as women, when we get caught up on that trend, then it works with our insecurity. You may be already beautiful the way you are, you know, but you'll be so caught up on what the world say and how the world say you gotta look, how the world say you gotta feel about yourself. This image that the world is giving us is crazy, ladies. So sometimes we have to just take a moment and just stop and say, you know what, regardless of what they say, I'm still cute. I'm still pretty. I am still the bomb.com. Even if my waist is not small, even if my stomach is not flat, okay? Even if my butt is not huge, but it's small, or if maybe ain't even none back there, honey, that's okay. Even if you ain't got none back there, you'll be surprised when you just start embracing the things about yourself. You won't even see yourself that way. But when you start embracing those things about you that's negative, you start to that stuff start to pile up and pile up, and then the next thing you know, it's like you feel some type of way about your own self. But when you take those negatives and you make them positive, you don't look at yourself that way. You may not have the big butt, but you're like, girl, I'm still fine. You may not have the small waist, girl, I'm still fine. You may not have long hair, short hair, or may not have no hair. I don't know. But you still great just the way you are. It is important that you know what your beauty looks like. Never allow anyone to tell you what pretty look like, because you can be over here and you looking at her and you thinking like, oh my God, like she's just so beautiful. She got a small waist and this, that. And she looking at you and your waist may be a little bit thicker, or your butt may be a little bit smaller and your thighs may be a little bit smaller. And she looking at you and she thinking, oh my God, I can wish I was like her. I wish I was just a little bit more smaller. I wish my waist was a little bit more bigger. So sometimes it's very important, ladies, that we watch what we idolize, because you can be idolizing somebody else, but in actuality, they may be idolizing you. And then the next thing you know, you got a whole bunch of women. We all just kind of like in this place of feeling like we're not enough. We're not good enough. And we spending money and we getting this done and that done and this done and all this type of stuff done, And, I'm not saying that it's anything wrong with that. But what I'm saying is that you have to learn to embrace who you are. If you can't embrace who you are, even when you get the butt, even when you get the breast, you still feel invalidated. And then what? You still at square one. You're not two, but you're still at square one, okay? So you got to learn to look like what pretty look like. Even if you have to go in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm cute. No, we ain't cute, because cute is for kids, okay? I'm beautiful. And even if you don't believe it, continue to tell yourself, because like I once said before, when you continue to tell yourself something over and over and over again, you start to believe it, whether it's a truth or a lie, you start to believe it. Okay. So you tell yourself, hey, I'm beautiful. I may not have this, but girl, I'm still cute. And one thing about it, you can see some of the beautiful women in the world walk around and you get with them behind closed doors. They're so insecure. Okay. So ladies, don't get caught up on how the next lady look, on how the next lady is built, what her life look like, all the things that she have in her life, because sometimes happiness is not always in pretty, okay? But when you can learn what pretty look like, happiness can be in pretty, okay? So, like I said before, take some time and think about, what do pretty look like? What do pretty look like to you? Are you willing to accept who you are when nobody else is around? And are you willing to accept who you are when someone else is around? And one thing about it, you can see a woman, she can look pretty, but when she walk up, you can feel energy. And a woman that's confident, you can see it all over her. You can see it all over her. She real confident. But you can see a woman that's real pretty and stuff like that, and in actuality, she's not confident. She's insecure. So don't get caught up. I just say all this to say, don't get caught up on what you feel like pretty look. Well, don't get caught up on what the world say pretty look like. There's certain image that's going around that you got to look like this. You got to dress like this. You got to have your hair like this in order to be pretty. It's like, who are we really when nobody else is around? If you can't accept you when nobody else around, then how can you accept yourself with somebody else when somebody else is around? Or how can you accept how can you want a husband to accept you when you don't accept yourself? Okay. So it's just really important to think about, what does pretty look like? Take a look in the mirror and say, you know what? Regardless of whatever my flaws is, I'm going to accept me. I ain't got no flat stomach, okay? And I'm 33 years old and I'm at the state, I'm like, it is what it is, okay? I work out, okay, if it go down, great, or whatever the case may be, but I'm not going to get caught up on all this. I got to look like this. I got to be shaped like this. Whatever you choose to want to be, that's okay, but also be able to accept who you are at the end of the day. If you want to do some things and you want to work out to make yourself feel better, that's fine. But don't get caught up on the trends of the world, okay? So just take a second and say, you know what? What does pretty look like? Do my pretty look like me, or do my pretty look like somebody else? Okay, ladies? Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great day. And remember, we got this.